Greetings from our ever-reigning King and Christ Jesus. It was a pleasure to see many of you this past weekend, and I hope that I can see even more of Trinity's faithful members over the next couple of weekends, as the month of June for Trinity is the month that we are doing multiple services in an effort to keep social distancing and all of the recommendations from the CDC and from the Kansas Department of Health in place. We will see what happens in the future after that, but for the month of June, that is our plan. Pastor asked me to continue doing these psalm devotions through the month of June, and I was trying to figure out what a good psalm would be for today and for this week's psalm devotion. And I was reading my 2-year reading plan once again, and the psalm for today really hit home. And I was just like, this is perfect. I'll just share it with you guys. So instead of doing the whole psalm, because it is a long psalm, I have decided to just do the first 6 verses of Psalm number 50. I would encourage all of you to read the entire psalm sometime this week, however. The first 6 verses read as follows. The mighty one, God the Lord speaks and summons the earth from the rising of the sun to its setting. Out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God shines forth. Our God comes, he does not keep silence. Before him is a devouring fire, around him a mighty tempest. He calls to the heavens above and to the earth that he may judge his people. Gather to me my faithful ones, who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens declare his righteousness, for God himself is judge. And what a wonderful introduction. This is about the first third of this psalm. But what beauty we see in this first third alone. God speaks and summons the earth. We bring to mind in this psalm, and especially in this beginning of the psalm, how Jesus was present at creation. We hear in John chapter 1 that the Word became flesh and dwelt among us. And the Word existed all the way back from the beginning, when God, our Father, actually spoke those words and created. And that is why Paul says in Colossians, through Jesus all things were created, because God used Jesus, the Word who would become flesh and who did become flesh in Bethlehem. He told creation, hey, you're going to show up. And we see this in Psalm 50, starting with the first verse. And then it continues with verse 2, not Psalm 2. But we see in verse 2, out of Zion the perfection of beauty, God shines forth. And we see throughout the New Testament that the church, after Jesus ascended into heaven, is Zion on earth. And we are the church, we as the church are the bride of Christ. The perfection of beauty shines forth through us. Our God comes and he does not keep silence, is verse 3. And what beautiful imagery. Our God has come through the person of Jesus Christ, and he does not keep silence because he is the Word become flesh. There is so much beauty in these first 6 verses, and I have just barely scratched the surface. So I would encourage all of you to once again read this entire psalm sometime this week. We have nothing to fear because as verses 5 and 6 say, gather my faithful ones who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens declare God's righteousness, for God is our judge. And we don't need to worry about our works being enough or if we are doing enough to curb a worldwide pandemic. And the reason we don't need to worry about it is we have been baptized. And we are part of the covenant of God because God's covenant with us was fulfilled with the crucifixion, the death, the resurrection. of Jesus Christ. His covenant has been put on us. It's not up to us. It's all about Jesus, the Word who did become flesh and has not kept silent. God's peace be with all of you this week.